In this movie, we're going to look at a special case of an inner join called a natural join. Now, in data modeling terms, a natural key is usually the key that defines the object. So in the case of the venue table, it would be the name of the venue. In the case of the act table, it would be the name of the act. Take, for instance, also the country, the name of the country and the name of the state. But note that there is no relationship between the name of the state and the name of the country, at least not any direct relationship. So there's no natural join between country and state on the name column. It is actually on the country ID column, because country names are not the same as state names. But the inclusion of the country ID into the state table as a foreign key creates the natural join between the two. We'll see more about the country and state table in a minute. So let's take a copy of the work file and let's paste it into SQL Developer, and let's talk about natural joins by example. So, venues. What's the data? We have lots of IDs and names, the cities that they're in, state code, country ID, and so on and so forth. Let's go to the show data. This gives me the shows with lots of IDs and namely a show date. Let's count the rows from these two tables. We have 177 rows and we have 160 rows. Let's join the venue and show tables with a where clause filter join, and we have an intersection of these particular rows. And we can also do select count star and just copy and paste the rest of the query. We can do it in a wrapper if we want, but we'll do it this way. And we have these counted rows, 160 rows. So what happens when you join these with a natural join? In theory, because the show and venue table had only the venue ID column in common, we should get an intersecting join of show and venue on the venue ID columns. So let's go back to SQL Developer, and this time we'll do a count from venue natural join show. Run it. We get the same count as with this one, 160 rows. Now, let's show you a little quirk with a natural join. Let's look at the state table. Let's natural join the state and the country tables just with everything. We don't get any data. Well, that's interesting. Now let's join the state and the country tables, but this time not using a natural join and specifically using the country ID. And guess what we get? We get 3 rows. Well, that's kind of odd because this one didn't actually give me any result. The reason why, let's go and join using the name column. We don't get anything. Let's look at this data model again. Remember what I said earlier? Country has country ID. It joins with country ID on state. The natural join will attempt to take all the common column names between country and state, in this case country ID and name, and try to join them, which is why I showed you the result of joining state and country based on name. The name in the country is the name of the country, and the name of the state is the name of the state. They're totally unrelated, so you won't get any rows. This join here is actually the equivalent of doing select star from state and saying join to country using actually both country ID and name. And it just gives you 0 rows. It would do because the names are not the same. What I can do to demonstrate is change the name of the state column name to state. So now let's go and look at the state table. Let's open this up here, and it now says state. The country table still says name. So now if I try to natural join the two tables, it should use the country ID column. Natural join country and state, and guess what? I get the right data. So you can see that the natural join joins on the column names that are common between the two tables. So just be careful with that in generic table structures with generic field names. And I'm going to change this column back again so we don't get confused later on. That's a natural join.